when you play for Florida, and that's why one of the reasons I came here. When you play for Florida, when you lose, everybody's gonna hate you, and everybody's gonna say you're the worst ever. And when you win, everybody's gonna treat you like you just won a national championship or you're a national championship caliber team. So that's the kind of hard dynamic about playing here, and that's why I love it.
Well, I hope you love it this week, because I think we all know where we stand. Look, the reason I played that is, like, he's 100% right. That's the life of being a Florida Gator football fan right now. And what I've experienced in the last 24 hours, just, the comments and the trolling, it's all anticipated. It's all expected. But most of it is from actual, Gator fans and just the hate for Billy and just off the train. But look, this is the life that it is. This is part of being an orange and blue guy. It's about being a Gator fan. So as much as it sucks right now, again, this is what makes it exciting. This is why I am so passionate. This is why I do get so frustrated, because I don't know, man. It's something special, something different. And that passion that he's talking about, felt like we lacked a little bit of on the football field. Now, I do want to say something. I usually don't read the comments before I hop in here, but I was. And Cody was saying yesterday that he felt that it was the players, not the coaching. And I disagree with him, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But Stephen Harris is in here, and he goes, look, when you have 200 yards, something rushing, that's nothing in coaching. There's nothing coaching can do about it. That's all in the players. And some guys are playing scared out of their mind from what he saw. And again, former player here noticing that, and he goes, the youth is evident at this point. It's not the coaching. They're not trusting themselves. They're in the position to make the plays, but let the confidence, some of these younger guys, and it's hurting. So very interesting perspective again. And look, I'll get with Steven. Hopefully we can have him on for Champs Corner tomorrow to talk more about that. But look, here's my perspective on it. I played high school competitive golf for 3 years while on varsity. We went 46 or something like that, 42-3. We lost 3 times in the regular season. We were what you call dominant in that field. I mean, that's a hell of a record to have. We went undefeated one of those years, won a conference championship in one of those years as well. But all of those tournaments were 9-hole tournaments. Okay, throughout the season. During the championship, when you head to districts, when you go into the playoffs, essentially, it turns into 18 holes. We never made it out of the first round of the district. We would go up against teams that we cooked every year during the regular season, but we would always lose come district. And look, part of that is on us. But a lot of it was, again, I love our coach that we had, but we were never prepared mentally to go into that 18-hole playoff. Our last senior year, the coach finally made an adjustment. I think we did actually get past the first round, but we limped by, and then we fell off the next round where we made some adjustments, and we were prepared to go into those 18 holes. So, look, a lot of it fell on us, but part of it is like, look, where's the coaching? Where is the preparation? And we looked unprepared, to be honest with you. But look, yeah, I do believe that some of these guys didn't have the energy. They were scared. But again, I fall back on where was the confidence being ensued into these guys that they can play the position? Why is there a lack of confidence at playing their position, right? What is it? What are we missing? And that was kind of what I saw yesterday. I don't disagree with his comment in the sense they look scared to play. We look very flat-footed. And again, I don't want to hear we had to travel, we had to play at noon. Kentucky looked just fine. One of the guys called in yesterday. Hilarious thought process. He goes, this guy rolled out of bed at 10 a.m. and ran for 200 yards in the first half in 15 minutes, and that being Ray Davis. So the other team had no problems getting up and rocking and rolling and putting it to us. So, I don't know. It's very frustrating. Obviously, I had to sleep on it. I had to really kind of digress and digest what occurred yesterday. It's never fun to have your team lose. Look, it is football at the end of the day. Like, we get up and we keep moving on. But the reason why we get so emotional is because we do invest a lot in time into it. And I saw Sorley in the comments talking about people not going to this Vanderbilt game. And look, I anticipated that as well, too. And some of it may be an overreaction on one end of it, right? I mean, you got some fans that are just completely turned off, ready to rock and roll. And I warrant every feeling right now because everyone handles things differently. I want to believe, and I think that's why I'm so frustrated, because I want this to work. You know what I mean? Because the alternative is just starting over again, I feel like. And it's like, gosh, like we've got a lot of things going the right way. We just can't get it done on a football field. You know what I mean? It's like recruiting's going well. I feel like we're building the culture back to a certain extent, but it's not translating. And I just don't know what's causing it to translate. And again, we're all calling for an offensive coordinator. If Billy goes and hires an offensive coordinator tomorrow, would we settle down for 5 minutes? Absolutely. Would it fix the problem? Hell no. it wouldn't fix the problem because it's more like it's a system thing. He's got to bring somebody in during the offseason for them to implement an entire new system, and Billy has to be able to trust that process that person is implementing. So we're going to jam-packed show. We're going to go over a few things, injury updates, the players react. Some of them tweeted after the game, and old players as well, and then go over Billy's press conference, break down what he had to say as well. Happy to have all of you here, though, on this Sunday afternoon. Again, after a hard loss, I figure we all be in morning, and be ready to rock and roll. I do want to preface this, though, and this is where I think the Gator Nation starts to divide a little bit. That Kentucky team is no joke. And I'm not making excuses, and I understand where we stand as fans is that we shouldn't lose three in a row to Kentucky. And I couldn't agree more. But I also think the landscape of college football has made some adjustments over the last 5 to 6 years, and I've been preaching that and stating that. And we're being caught behind the 8 ball here and not able to make an adjustment. I think the portal and the NIL is leveling things out. You're not going to have your powerhouses like you once did. And look, I think play calling, coaching, just week in and week out, and how driven you can be is going to be a big factor. And look, and I'm thinking like, well, nobody's going to come in right away like what Urban did and flip the switch. But then I start to question myself. I go, well, I mean, this guy had them doing wrestling drills, waking up at 12 a.m., going working out. I mean, from what we saw on Swamp Kings, like, have we brought that same energy, that same mindset now? Right? I don't know. We'll see. Kentucky plays Georgia next week. I think we'll get a really good understanding of what they can do. But here's the thing that I think Georgia's going to roll over Kentucky because Devin Leary was 9 for 20 for 96 yards. 9 for 20 for 96 yards. If you think that Georgia's not going to be able to figure that shit out and shut down Ray Davis, you got another thing coming. And I think what's going to happen is Georgia's going to go in there and steamroll them after getting a big win against Auburn on the road. And we're going to be right back in the same boat of doubling down on Fire and Billy, unfortunately. But we will see. I think Stetson Bennett found some confidence. But look, if you force Devin Leary to throw, we almost had a pick 6 in there. Didn't look promising. We allowed 300 yards rushing on the ground. That's unreal. Like that's what we did to McNeese State. Put that in perspective. Put that into perspective, right? And we're all getting upset about offensive coordinator, but we let go. We let 300 yards in the ground rock and roll. So, and again, the future. I mean, how long is this rebuild? I don't know. David Waters, he dropped a little chart showing the offensive line. Three-star U on the offensive line. And look, I love those guys on those offensive line, no discredit, but the talent gap is massive, and we haven't recruited well to solidify that the offensive line is like, hey, it's coming. I think we've got some talent coming in. We've got some big guys coming in. But Samson Okinola from Miami, 5-star guy who we missed out on, is balling out there in Miami, right? Now, can we go attack the portal? Yeah, we need to attack the portal, but we've shown that we didn't do very well with that last year. We had an opportunity to attack the portal. Felt like we left some strings out there. So thinking about it, I'm like, oh, why don't we go get Ray Davis? You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't he want to come play for Florida after playing Vandy? And I understand we've got Trevor and Montrell, but damn, looking at that, I'm like, we should have made some moves there, boys. $5 from Nick Meyer says, strippers and gambling couldn't help this pain. Bare knuckle boxing needs to be going down right now in the locker room so they straighten up. I mean, yeah, I like the mentality, man. We got to get busting some heads for sure. Did I say Stetson Bennett? I meant to say Carson Beck. I'm sorry. same guy. Same guy for sure. My bad. Appreciate the checking me. But yeah, look, that's my thing. I think it's going to be a hard one to swallow. I think we'll get a better feel. I mean, I don't know, a better feel. I can't even say a better feel. Look, we're going to be pissed off until we start seeing some wins. I think Vandy, you've got to go in there and knock the socks off. South Carolina looked, abysmal against Tennessee, who we rolled. Now, I know Tennessee played at home, but we should be able to handle business against Tennessee. Georgia's going to be a tough one, but again, it's a long season. I'm trying to be optimistic here. As you can see, it's hard to. I'm never going to come on here and be like, yep, we're going to lose this game. I can't do that. It's against my human will to do that. So if you're here to watch me bitch and complain, you're here for the wrong reasons. I saw some guy kind of tweeting at David yesterday talking about how some of these Gator sources are being fueled or saying certain things, like basically pushing a propaganda. I can rest assure you that I have zero connection to the Florida Gators. It's actually in the negative. Like, I have frustrations with them because some of the guys, I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to piss anybody off, won't allow me to have any kind of pass or any kind of connection. So if there's somebody who would give shit to Florida, it would be me. But I'm a fan, and I've talked with these players, and I have a personal interest in the players having success, and I want them to have success. But I can assure you, ain't nobody on this channel has an agenda that's being pushed from anybody else outside how I feel personally. 1,000%. I'm not one to jump on a bandwagon to bash somebody unless, it's evident. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but I was like, that's blasphemy that's even being thrown around, that we're pushing an agenda, because trust me, I'm not even close to that. Jamonte Waller, is he decommitting? I haven't heard any of that. I saw you guys talk, he visited Auburn. I saw everybody, freaking out about that. What sucks about those things is that obviously he goes and visits a game, which if we would be Kentucky, would we be talking about it? Probably not. But he goes and visits. Again, he just 2 weeks ago was talking about how much he loved Florida and that there's more to come. So the only thing that's changed in those 2 weeks is we have a loss. But that's the other part too, is like we immediately go to the sky is falling, right? When we start losing, these games. So let's move on from there. Again, over 200 people in here. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you guys are brand new. Let's get to the Twitter stuff really quick before we do anything else. Some of the players responded, so I do want to get into that. Let's go. So, Trevor Etienne tweeted out, chin up, chest out, better days coming. Orange and blue, Gators, # keep fighting. I love this. I needed this. It's good to see the players kind of bouncing back, having that mentality. Cam Jackson, I thought I saw him tweet something similar, but when I went to go look to pull it up for the show, wasn't there. So I don't know if he deleted it or if I was just seeing things. I could have swore I saw that. But I love seeing Trevor again. I think he's one of the leaders on the team. Step up and say something. Somebody who's especially vocal on Twitter. I know not everybody's vocal on Twitter, but Princely, somebody who's usually vocal on Twitter in a more personal aspect, didn't say much. So I would have liked to see him say something, but he haven't. Kamari Wilson, love that he was giving Annie Jean some flames, right? I love seeing, again, his support, especially not being on the travel roster, not even being at the game, showing some love. So that was great to see. And then Shannon Snell, he says, replying, he had a lot of negative things to say. He was not happy with the outcome yesterday. Matt Champion says, you must really dislike playing for Zook. He goes, yep, didn't like him. I stayed at Florida only because I love being a Gator. Full disclosure, I was really close to transferring to Michigan after Spurrier left. Twitter, the world we live in now, to get that kind of information is unreal, right? And it's wild, too, because, again, this is just, keep this in perspective here. This is somebody who played for Zook. Mind you, on Wednesday, we had Ben Troop on, who also played with Zook, and the positive things that he had to say about Zook, saying, wasn't the coach that I wanted, but the coach that I needed. Had a lot of great things to say about Zook. And you got to think the same dynamic is happening now with Billy Napier, right? And again, I'm just, and again, so the back and forth of how a team is being perceived. And losing doesn't help that either. So, look, I think somebody even tweeted like Casey, or Tate Casey, kind of, throwing shots at him. Everyone is turning on everybody. And that's the one part I do hate, because it's like the Florida fans that are saying, I told you so, I knew I was right. It's like, yeah, but like, why would you want to be right about this? You might be right, and I agree with you. You're spot on. But congrats. Like, are we like, why would we want that to happen? That's the part that I can't seem to wrap my head around. Like, I see like these Gator guys attacking Dave and other people, and I want to get involved. I'm like, God, it's just a guy behind a cell phone. It doesn't mean anything. Like, I visually just want to grab the head and just, drag it across concrete. Like that. That's where I'm at. Like, bro, just shut the F up. But Ali Peak's pissed about the 13 players. It's just dumb stuff, man. Dumb mistakes. 13 players, and now we're another meme. 13 players, and they still ran it down our throat. We couldn't even stop at 13 players in the football field. That's 2 extra. Not 1 extra, 2 extra. Like, it's just small stuff, man. You know what I mean? You have 6,000 people on staff. You almost have enough people on staff to have a person assigned to each player. You know what I mean? Like that's where you're starting to lose the belief from the fan base. And I don't disagree with them at all. I really don't. I understand where they're coming from. And that's why I'm not going to defend anything today. I can't. I will not. I refuse to. But look, those are the words that I kind of pulled out from the players. The fans were all over the place. I feel like getting perspectives from current players, former players, kind of gives you more of a gauge of where the feel and the vibe is. So that's why I wanted to show that. But look, Snell's not happy. and neither are the rest of us. So good stuff on that one there. Now, I do want to go over this. So Billy obviously had his press conference. We were waiting on our call-in show yesterday. If you haven't seen that, it was a vent call-in show where a lot of upset Gator fans called in, and it was a good time. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. It was a blast to hear what everyone had to say. You know what was funny about it? It was just everybody was just deflated. You know what I mean? Like nobody had anything to say. You weren't even mad anymore. You were just disappointed. But obviously, Billy's press conference went live. I was able to watch it, take it all in. I hated it. It really pissed me off. I could tell that he was frustrated, but it was the same song and dance. It really was, and it pissed me off. It really did. I don't know what I wanted. I don't know what he would have said that would have made me feel better, to be honest with you. And that's me being real. And I think sometimes, we get frustrated, and even in our lives, we'll get mad because it's not the response that we wanted. But we don't know what the response that we want. We just know it wasn't that. And that's how I feel about it. So I'm not going to be too critical because, again, I don't know what I would want in that situation. I don't know what the best thing to say is because we criticize Brian Kelly when he's too harsh about it. Or we criticize Lane Kiffin when he's too joking about it. So where is the sweet spot? Right? I don't know. I feel like sometimes you got a coach that just says the right thing every single time. I mean, honestly, you guys are gonna hate me for this, but Coach Prime says some things kind of off the cuff at times, but he handles his losses and wins. I mean, there's some flavor there, which I appreciate from a head coach. But here's what he had to say when being pressed about play calling, and this got some people fired up. This is his little statement here. So let me play the clip and then we'll go from there.
They work, they pat you on the back. When they don't work, they criticize you, right? So what we got to do is we got to do our job for the players, okay? That's what's important to me. It's important to me that we do our best for the players and our staff, okay? And look, when you don't have success, you deserve criticism. We deserve every bit of criticism we're going to get for this game, okay? That's part of it. So, but I also, my responsibility is to the players and to the staff. So ultimately, that's what I think about.
I'm just trying to be accurate with the criticism. Like, is it inaccurate or accurate? Some of what's said.
I think there's always good and bad. Some of it's well deserved. Some of it, maybe they don't quite know what they're talking about. So I think it's probably a mixed bag.
So this obviously frustrated some people saying, some of it's, deserved. Some of the people don't know what they're talking about. And it feels very, I don't know, like people are calling it Mullen-esque. I'm smarter than you. You don't know what you're saying. And I don't disagree. But I got a play here that I want to pull up because I don't know shit. And I agree. I'm getting a little spicy with this comeback here. But when I see this lineup, I remember I went back and watched to pull this clip out. It took me faster than it should have to find this clip. When I watched this, I go, oh shit, they're running it. And I think this was a third down play. I can't remember. But I think it was 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, as you can see. And I go, as soon as I saw this, I go, oh shit, they're running it. Because nobody in their right mind, two options here. They're either going to run it or they're throwing a screen to Ricky Pearsall. Because why in God's name would you have the wide receivers line up in domino formation? We do this all the time. We just jam them up. And basically, look, it works for the run scheme because they have to respect that left side. And then he pulls Montreal to the right side around Hansen here, the tight end, which, again, that's the whole point, is to move the safeties over to the left to respect the possible throw, and it opens things up to the right. But we were getting dominated on offensive line all day long. They didn't need the safeties to even get across. Now, Montreal broke a tackle and was able to get through. But, yes, the bubble screen would be the open call. But, again, you're selling on that. Your line has done such a great job all day long. You're selling on it. And I don't have the video here to play, but you'll see the safeties rotate and are ready to swallow up, if not pick off the screen, because of how predictable this is. But when I saw it, I immediately knew we were running the football. If my dumbass knows when I see this lineup, which because I've been watching the last 4 weeks of football now, and going back to last year, I basically, like, it's just like embedded in my head on what we're going to do. It's so predictable, right? If I know what's coming, I think my son even knew. I think he yelled run. I wasn't quite sure. If I know what's coming, everybody knows what's coming. You know what I mean? And we're not talented enough at the moment on the O-line to just bully somebody. So when you're saying, well, they may not know what they're talking about, I don't know what I'm talking about, Billy. But when I see this, I know what I'm talking about. So this is where the frustration is coming in again from everybody. It's just, look, I can't wait to see the Gators Football National Podcast, his breakdown. He's not a big fan of the play calling as is. So I'm sure he's going to not hold any punches when going over the play calling as well. But I don't know. What's going to change in the next few weeks that's going to make all of us happy? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It feels like it's going to be a long year. It's going to be a long year, a very long year. Ego, pride, and stubbornness kills these head coaches every time. And that's what's kind of really frustrating me, I think, with this entire thing, is I feel like Billy carries himself very well, but seems to be an ego there. And that kind of response is where everyone's like, whoa, that was very egotistical, right? To say, like, some people don't know what they're talking about versus just being, hey, like, you know what, this is on me. I've got to look at this and be like, yeah, the play calling could be a little bit better. It is very vanilla. The whole we've got to execute thing. And I don't disagree with them. They do need to execute. But when you're being bullied and you're being beat, where's the alternative? Where is the audible? Where's the adjustments being made? Instead of just sticking to the script and staying to your tune. That's the biggest thing. Over this past year and a half, here's the main takeaways from Billy Napier, right? Great recruiting. Seems to have flipped the culture around. But time management has been an issue since last year, and I defended it last year. I will no longer defend it. And play calling has been a consistent issue as well, which I've also defended, and I will no longer defend it anymore either. So those are concerning factors that I was hoping we would see some turnover and some change. We have yet to see those things. And look, there's nothing wrong with handing things over to somebody else. I think he is a great CEO. I think he's established a great culture. I think he's putting the right people in the right places. Acknowledge that what you're good at, right? And be okay with passing the buck. Your play calling and your offensive style got you to this point. That's awesome. But now you've stepped up. You need to go get a better COO, right? You know what I mean? So you were a COO, but you're now the CEO. But there's also really great COOs that will never be CEOs just because that's another level of leadership that's needed. But they're probably a better COO. They are a better COO, i.e. offensive coordinator than you. They just don't have what it takes to be a head coach. But you have those attributes. Acknowledge that. Be okay with that. If you want to be an offensive coordinator, go be an offensive coordinator, but it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to do both. And I hope there's somebody on the staff that can see this and they're like, yo, we gotta change it. Where's the pushback? Well, we can't just blindly follow into this anymore. It's been too long. We've seen too much of nothing happening. And that's where I think I'm frustrated. You had 2 power plays yesterday on Prize Picks and got 1,000. You couldn't tell somebody, Chris? That's disrespectful. That's a little rude. But yeah, look, I don't think anything's going to change drastically. I remember, frankly, him addressing it against the Utah game, talking about he would see how the season went. Again, what are we going to do in the middle of the season? I don't know. Maybe pass the buck to Ethan Callaway, Rob Sale, somebody. Right now, I just need to pass it to somebody else instead of you calling plays from the sideline. Over 300 people in here on this wonderful Sunday afternoon. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you are brand new. Happy to see all of you here. I think most of you guys are here to hate on me and make fun of me, and that's perfectly fine. I invite you. I encourage you. It's well-deserved, well-warranted. I have definitely walked into that and have earned every little bit that I can get. So, completely okay with it. Here's the good thing. I will say this. I have had a hard time throughout life kind of, taking punches and I've had a thick skin, but this thing has made my skin, it's callous at this point dealing with it. So pro there, boys. I'm growing if anybody cared. So I appreciate you guys giving me shit. Makes me grow each day. At least somebody's growing through all this. You know what I mean? Since Billy's not. Last little bit here. We've got an injury update. # yay. That's complete sarcasm. It came out that Arlos Boardingham, it didn't look like a tear when it happened, but it almost looked like an ankle sprain, but by the knee, which concerns me. Those are rough. I'm not a doctor. I'm just observing like the rest of us. But I've seen enough injuries to kind of get like a gauge of they look pretty like this or they look like that. And he said he's gonna be out for a couple of weeks. Surgery's not needed, which also confirmed that it's not a tear, more of a sprain or maybe like a meniscus kind of thing, where it will heal itself, but it's going to take some time. So that's a bummer. Eugene Wilson, a lot of us were frustrated yesterday because he was on the depth chart to start. He stated in his press conference when they showed up, felt that it wasn't right for him to go. I respect that. It sucks, but I respect it to say the least, at least trying to protect his player in that regard. So Hall of Fame getting smoked by Kentucky like you will this weekend against Texas. Anyways, so we got a big game against Vandy here, boys. Got to rally up the troops. Got to band together here, boys. I'm glad we have this, this platform that we can talk about it, that we can be frustrated about it. It's a learning process for me too, because how the season goes kind of determines how my emotions go. The pro and con of this is my emotions are extremely high. I get a lot of compliments from you guys, and I appreciate it. Like, oh, I love your energy, I love your excitement. My excitement is based on this. And last night I was talking to Cody, and I was down. And he's like, "What's wrong, man?" I was like, "Look, man, you guys see me on the screen when my energy is extremely high and extremely pumped. The con of that and the downfalls of that, when things aren't going great, the opposite of that energy is extremely low, right? So that's just kind of just the catch-22 on that is I have a really great energy, but when it's not going the way I'd like it to go, it kind of swings really heavy the other direction. Now, I've learned to kind of manage it a little bit, but yesterday was a rough one. I had to sleep on it, prepare for today's show, think about what I wanted to say, because I also, I know that I like to be the shining light, some would say, and be optimistic and be positive. There's not much to be positive about, but the one positive is that we'll grind and we'll continue to get back at it. We'll rock and roll for this week. $10 from Chris Sorley says, Shelton, right now in the season, what changes are a must after the FSU game, and what happens if the Vandy game goes sideways? Hypothetically speaking. Give me the hard questions. So a must after the FSU game, so into the season. So I definitely think, we're going to have to go hire somebody on offensive coordinator. That's number one. Not an assistant, a legit offensive coordinator. Number two, we have to be extremely aggressive in the portal. Extremely aggressive. Look at the top teams right now, and look what Dabo has done by being basically trying to protest against the portal. You can't do that anymore and exist. And we talked about that time and time again. I don't think you can survive off the portal, but it allows for you to connect things and to stay relevant. I mean, look what Colorado was able to do. The fact that I know they're 3-2, and I know they got blasted, but they kind of made a little bit of a run there. The portal is allowing them to be relevant and at least be competitive. They're not going to go win anything big, but it's allowing them to be relevant when they shouldn't be at all. 3 years ago, Colorado would take a long time to get back to this point. It's going to take time, but the portal allows for you to move that needle faster than just by building through recruiting. I think he's done a great job through recruiting. He's putting the right pieces in there, but the patience of Florida Gators are not going to allow for you to put up 3 great recruiting classes together and then allow that to season. No. You need to complete a great recruiting class, 2 solid recruiting classes with a hell of a portal transaction. Unfortunately, I can beat this drum as much as I want. I don't think it's going to happen. I felt like last year there was plenty of opportunities for us to be aggressive. We were beating the drum. Why? What's going on? What's happening? Billy really didn't give us much on the lack of urgency in the portal. So I don't know. We'll see how that plays out, but we'll see. We will see. And there was the last one. Oh, and what happens if the Vandy game will go sideways? If the Vandy game goes sideways, let's just say that the fan base right now, let's talk in category of hurricanes. This was like a category 3. Maybe a 2.5, right? 2, like it's a category 2. It's like close to category 3, and then it hits land, and then it kind of, dies down. That's what this was. If we lose to Vandy at home, it's going to be a couple category 5s. Not one, a couple. Just hitting all in the same spot. That's what's going to happen visually. Like, I don't know how I can tell you how else I can describe that for you. So look at the difference from last year to this year with Miami. Billy just needs to be a great CEO and have the right coordinator in place. Billy might have to reconsider his staff. You know what? Dude, that's a great point, man. I was thinking about this. We give Miami shit. And I've been giving them shit because they haven't recruited as well as they recruited last year. I know it's not over yet, but they haven't recruited as well. But they're fucking 4-0 and they look really good on the football field. And what did Mario do? Went and cleaned up some staff, made some moves, made some adjustments, and we gave him flack for it. Now look. Now, it's still early, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Jason, you can text me. We can figure out the bet offline, buddy. USC will try to throw it away yesterday. The portal is a quick fix, and Billy does well in high school recruiting. Yeah, look, I'm not saying that the portal is the end-all, be-all, but it allows for you to connect things and to be relevant, to be competitive, and to keep you close with that talent gap. That's more so what I'm referring to. Yeah, Billy's gonna be effed if they do. If that game does go sideways, they better run him over. It shouldn't be close, but I don't know. I'm nervous now. I am. I thought for sure, even if he went, the outcome of the season would not determine his job, but I didn't anticipate it going this south either. You know what I mean? And that's again where my frustrations from yesterday stem from the most. It's not the loss that kills me, right? Like that LSU loss against Ole Miss loss. I mean, it was atrociously defensively, but it was a fun, good game. Like you're like, dang, like we just got beat. And we did just get beat by Kentucky. And I'm not trying to. Last year, I smashed the drum that we beat ourselves against Kentucky, and I still believe that. This year, Kentucky bent us over, pulled our pants down, walked away for 3 days, and then came back and then tore our ass up. Like that's how bad it was. They just completely just manhandled us without a shadow of a doubt. I don't feel the gap should have been that bad though. That's all that I'm saying. And again, you've got the crazy Gators that are like, it shouldn't even be this close. There's no way we're Florida, etc. And I'm not trying to defend it, but I think, again, you're ignorant if you don't see the fact that Kentucky has made leaps and bounds, and Mark Stoops, has been there since 2013. He's been there for 10 years. He's established. So when you're established, you're going to get big wins like this over a school that's been flopping around. In the time that Mark Stoops has been there, we've had 5 or 6 coaches. I don't even know. I'm guessing. We've had, McElwain, Muschamp, Mullen, and now Napier. So 4 coaches in the time that Mark's been there. Finally get some shit figured out eventually. You know what I'm saying? And now again with the NIL, they're not gonna have a fall off year. They're only gonna keep growing, unfortunately. So we'll see. Weaver from Kentucky said after the game, this is not a good Florida team, and we never even worried about them all week. Got nothing for them. Got nothing for them. Look, this is a huge test. This is a young team, and that's the one thing again. Like it's a big adversity. It's a big slap in the mouth. Like Billy said, it is some humble pie, and it is extremely humble pie. It's a humble pie to the fan base, humble pie to the team. You told me last week that this team isn't going to have the ups and downs. It's a different team from last year. I don't know, Billy. For the fact that it is a completely different team than last year, and we're falling into the same trap that we did last year, but we have there's a new slot of players on there. They're younger, but it's a new slot, which that's where I go back to it falls on coaching. Because if I'm seeing a consistent pattern, but the players are changing. Well, there's still some players, but you get the majority of it. It's Billy's guys now, which is what we've been preaching. At what point is it you? And that's kind of where I'm at, right? And look, I hate to be negative. It is what it is. I'm trying to be real here. Look, we're going to have a jam-packed show on Wednesday. We got a show tonight at 7:35. We're going to recap all of college football. That should be fun. It was a hell of a day yesterday. Look, I think week 4 had a lot of hype, but yesterday might have been probably one of the best college days we've had in a long time. Just a lot of great games, a lot of nail-biters. Duke and Notre Dame was a good one. Ole Miss and LSU was a great one. Bama seems to be back. They seem to have found themselves back to that old Bama style of run it down your throat. And if our quarterback needs to get dicey, he can, which scares the living shit out of me. So I might have been wrong about this entire thing with Bama, but we'll see. Williams-Tuddy, I told you it was a lock, Ricky. Early on, baby. early on. The bets are hot, boys. The bets are hot. That puts me in a good mood. Well, guys, I really appreciate you. 300 strong, 350, not 100 likes. Don't know why we're not dropping a like. That's just disrespectful. Look, guys, I didn't play the game yesterday. Don't be mad. Don't be pissed at me. All right, I didn't do this shit. I'm here with. I'm in the same boat as you guys. Okay, I'm here to hang out with you and try to figure out what the hell's going on. So, I love it. Look, love you guys, man. It's a hell of a fan base. I think when I played that video with Tyreek Sapp talking about the good and the bad. In this position that I am, I kind of feel that I'm in that same kind of boat because when it's winning, everybody loves it. Like, yeah, show it. And when we're losing, like, what the F, show? Like I'm out there playing. But I am an advocate for the pros. So I get it. Guys, love you. Smash the like button. Happy to have all of you in here on this Sunday afternoon. Again, show tonight at 7:35. Full college recap show. It's an absolute blast. It's fun. Come check it out. It's growing like a weed. Our show yesterday was a fantastic show, our college game day show. So be sure to tune in. Hall of Fame, going to have you on this Saturday to talk about, obviously Texas whooping that ass. So I'll see you guys tonight, hopefully. Love you. Good seeing you. It is my fault. I know it is my fault.
Don't wanna
Agree, Thomas.
cause I got something to prove.
Smash the like button. There he is. 100 likes. Let's go.
Finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets. Yeah, I'll tie up my chest. I'll never forget.